Must this be the outcome? No, absolutely not. There are many cases where it has come out differently and well. We asked Beth what she would have done differently given what she knows now.
Get help. Find somebody. There are programs around the country that can help. We're lucky here. We have the Colorado Physicians Health Program at CPHB. They do anonymous interventions. They can help. They can get your person cleaned up. They put them on a monitoring program, and it's all done anonymously. The medical board doesn't have to be involved. And there are more important things than losing your license.
There are options for safely initiating treatment and the recovery process. I've been there. I've been through treatment. I work on my recovery daily. And I continue to practice medicine safely for myself and for my patients. There are options. You can approach the department chairman or a trusted faculty member. They are safe to talk to. You can contact the hospital wellness committee or the state's impaired physician program. Every state has such a program. All of these options are confidential and safe. Inaction is not a viable option. Fears about loss of respect, loss of job, as in Rick's case, are really secondary issues. This is a disease that, if untreated, is fatal to relationships, to the family, to the job, and ultimately to the addict.
When he came through that door, he said, I have something to tell you and you're not going to like it. I said, I don't like any of this. And he said, I have a problem. And I said, well, let's do something. Let's get you help. And he said that he would, and told me everything I wanted to hear. It was perfect. That he would get some help, that he would go in and talk to somebody in the morning, and that we needed to get him cleaned up, and that was why he hadn't been home for so long, was that he was trying to sober up or come down or whatever it is you do when you're trying to clean up. And that he was really sorry, and I kept asking him, why did you start this? Why did you start? And he said that was a really stupid part, that there was really no reason for him to start, that a lot of people started using drugs because of the pressure, or because they weren't happy at home, or they didn't like their jobs, or money was too tight. But he said it was none of those things. At this point, there wasn't really any reason for him to lie to me. I mean, he was bearing his soul, so to speak. There was no reason for him to come home and say, well, pressure is really just too much at work. If it wasn't, there was no reason for him to tell me that. There just wasn't any reason for him to lie to me. And so I said, then why did you start? And he said that when he would put his patients under, their faces would relax, and it looked like it felt good. It just was relaxing, and that's what he wanted. He wanted to know how it felt. It's just because of the expression on their face, and it was just a curiosity thing. He was just curious about what it felt like. So that was how it started. And he got caught, and he couldn't stop. He told me that he knew that if we stuck together, if I stood by him and supported him, that he could clean it up, that he would be okay. But he needed help. He needed me to support him. And I said, okay, I really didn't want him to leave. So we went to bed, and the next morning, he told me that he really thought probably that he could just do it on his own, that it would be okay. And I was going to call anybody that I could think of. I knew we couldn't afford like a treatment center, but I thought maybe if he got involved with a 12-step program, there's like Narcotics Anonymous, maybe that would help. But he wouldn't have anything to do with it, and it was like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. He had done an about face in the night, and he was going to be okay, and he would just quit, and I didn't need to call anybody. Everything was going to be okay. 8 days later, he was dead.
This is the anesthesia residence call room at University Hospital, where Rick Sims was found, dead. I was there and I saw Rick that morning. It was horrible. I'll never forget it. And sadly, the thing I remember most was how, even at the end, Rick was still Rick in so many ways. He was always conscientious and precise, and his attention to detail was well known, but there he was, dead in the call room with this intravenous line in his leg vein. And he had the needle and the tubing and the syringe to give himself a continuous dose of Sufenta, a narcotic that he accidentally overdosed on. And it was so meticulously placed and taped. It was just so Rick. It seemed impossible that he could have just made such a fatal mistake.
That was exactly what I had done. I'd become a great ostrich. I just hid, and I think he did too, somewhat. It was easy to not know how serious it was and to not, I mean, in spite of finding the needles and the lying and the confrontations and you still hung on to the hope that everything would be okay, that in the end everything would be all right. But it wasn't.
I find it hard to watch what we've just seen without tears and great sadness and also a little bit of fear. Maybe one way to avoid these unpleasant feelings is to say it wouldn't happen to me or to my family. When I came to chair our Department of Anesthesiology 15 years ago, I never dreamed that events like this would be a part of my job description. I also never imagined I'd be involved in helping to create what you've just seen. But the stakes are high, and maybe we can find ways to help prevent such tragic outcomes. As we've indicated here, the drugs we handle daily as anesthesiologists have a powerful potential for inducing dependency, especially these newer synthetic narcotics. Indeed, they're so powerful that one can't experiment. The curiosity that Rick Sims had is dangerous. One time, and you can be hooked. What happens if someone, a professional colleague or family member, comes to me with a suspicion? If the problem's as clear as Rick's, then we can help to obtain treatment. If it's just a suspicion that something seems different, just not quite right, then we watch carefully and caringly, protecting privacy as much as possible. Sometimes concerns lead to nothing, and then we can reassure. Sometimes they lead to a problem, and we can help and protect. As Beth Sims said, if you have concerns or questions, get help. The card enclosed with this video tells you who can help and how to find them. My only concern is this. Of all the people who will be watching this tape, I know that only one or two will need this information, but I don't know which of you it'll be.